order. As is customary, we'll open with the Pledge of Allegiance. And I'll ask Mr. McClung if he would lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. McClung. And welcome, everyone. Thank you for being here and traveling down here. I hope everybody got here well and safe, no traffic. We normally we started this kind of the first of the year, but we know people have very busy schedules. Is there anybody here who this is their first meeting? Meet the gentlelady. All right, would you start with, actually, Madam Supervisor from Henrico, why don't we start with you and give us an introduction, tell us anything you want to tell us about yourself.
I'll keep it brief. I'm Misty Whitehead. I am the supervisor for the 3 Chop District in Henrico, newly elected, so this is my first term. I'll leave it at that.
Welcome, thank you. All right, and then, yes, sir.
Good morning, my name is William Mackey Jr. I'm the Planning Commissioner for the Verona District, and this is my second time.
Great to see you here, sir. Anybody else? I think, yes, sir.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cameron George. I am representing the city of Richmond as a citizen representative. First day, I'm excited to learn a lot.
Hey, well, thanks for being here. First meeting, you buy lunch.
Okay.
That's nice.
Very well. Ms. Scott, will you please call the roll? We do have some virtual attendees, and we'll handle that after we certify if we have a quorum. Ms. Scott.
Yes, sir. Town of Ashland, Mr. Chambers,
Here.
Dr. McGraw,
Here.
Mayor Trivette, Charles City County, Mr. Atkins,
Brother.
Mr. Patterson, Chesterfield County, Mr. Carroll,
Here.
Mr. Davy,
Here.
Mr. Holland,
Here.
Mr. Engel,
Here.
Dr. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Schneider. Here. Goochland County, Mr. Spoonhour, Mr. Lyle, Hanover County, Vice Chair Davis,
Present.
Ms. Dibble, Ms. Pritchard, Mr. Waddell,
Present.
Henrico County, Mr. Bast,
Here.
Mr. Cooper,
Present.
Mr. Mackey,
Here.
Reverend Nelson,
Here.
Mr. Rogish,
Here.
Mr. Schmidt, Ms. Whitehead,
Present.
New Kent County, Reverend Hathaway,
Here.
Ms. Pearson, Ms. Stewart. Here. Powhatan County, Mr. Donati, Mr. McClung,
Here.
Mr. Powers, Ms. Winnell, City of Richmond, Mr. Addison, Mr. George,
I hear.
Dr. Newbill. Here. Mr. Poole.
Here.
Thank you. And Ms. Robertson. That concludes the roll call for attendance. We do have a quorum.
Let the record reflect that we have a quorum. The chair has received a request for 3 remote participations. One from Dr. Dan McGraw. Matter is for a personal matter, specifically a scheduling conflict that prevents attendance in person. Mr. Frank Petrosky. Mr. Petrosky has identified a personal matter, specifically a scheduling conflict that prevents attendance in person. And Mr. Rodney Poole has identified as a personal matter, specifically a scheduling conflict that prevents attendance in person. The chair moves to confirm this decision to approve the member's request that the participation from a remote location was in conformance and is in conformance with the PlanRVA Commission policy on remote participation. And I'll ask for a voice vote. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Next item on the agenda, I am going to move that we amend the agenda to remove the special program 3A, the FOIA compliance, General Assembly and FOIA Council matters. Mr. Gregory has been a faithful servant of PlanRVA, PDC, and the TPO for quite some time, and our sympathies are with you in the loss of yet another family member. We're terribly sorry, but we would ask that that be removed, and give Mr. Gregory some time to finish this meeting and get on about his family business. So, with that on the business side, is there a second?
Second.
And is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Eric, if there's anything we can do at all, please let us know. Our deepest sympathies for you and your family. Greatly appreciate it. The next item on the agenda is public comment time. Public comments are time where anyone who wishes to address the commission on any matter within the commission's authority is welcome to come forward. We do ask those who wish to speak to state their name and the locality in which they reside or the entity that they represent. Is there anybody in person who wishes to comment at public comment? Is there anybody online? Seeing none, we will close public comment. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the February 8, 2024 meeting minutes. Have all commission members had an opportunity to review the minutes? Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the executive committee report. As many remember very clearly, and for those who have just joined us, we had to place a continuity plan in place last year. So the vice chair was from Powhatan, did not seek re-election, and so we had that vacated. So I was chair last year and then was elected to vice chair to fill the chair duties. At that time, we had 3 executive committee members. We were putting the continuity plan in place. And then the tragic and untimely passing of Miss Page out of New Kent created another issue for us to have to work on. So now at this time, we need to codify that. This will be for fiscal year 2024. So for the remaining 15 minutes of FY 2024, we do need to establish an executive committee. After June 1st, our bylaws allow us to then move forward into electing the FY 2025 slate. And with that, we'll handle FY 2024. If there are no objections, I'll ask Chairman Engel of the Executive Committee Nominating Committee. Mr. Engel, do you have a motion, sir?
The nominating committee moves to have the following slate of officers for the remainder of the 2024 fiscal year. Chair, Mr. Davis. Vice Chair, Dr. McGraw. Treasurer, Jordan Stewart. And Secretary, Byron Adkins.
We have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second by Dr. Newbill. Is there any discussion amongst the full commission? Hearing none, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And the motion carries. We did record the remote Well, we can handle it after this. Unless anybody wants to take pictures or wants autographs of the executive committee officers, we will swear in immediately after this meeting. All family and friends and invited guests are welcome to stay for the festivities. So I do want to talk briefly about FY 2025. So the new slate of officers, Dr. McGraw, it'll likely be suggested that everybody will move up one position. So Dr. McGraw would move into the chair and following, and then Dr. Newbill would join the slate of officers again as secretary. So that'll happen. It'll seem rather quick because it's going to happen for the next FY, which starts in July. But that's because we had the continuity plan in place. So I just wanted to prepare folks that the executive committee is already working on that. There was a request because of a number of regional scheduling matters that are taking place, and our commission being as diverse as it is, has a lot of places they need to be. So the executive committee is going to recommend to you that we would cancel the full commission meeting on May 9th of this year, and accept that we might send a proposed amendment to align the joint annual meeting of the CVTA and the TPO to the 13th of June in 2024 is the best we kind of could come up with. It seems to work with everybody's schedule. We're all going to be probably in the same room, just under a different meeting title. So I'll just ask, is there any discussion around that? Anybody have any questions or concern? I really appreciate staff working so hard to handle these scheduling matters.
Sean, did you
Yes,
say
ma'am.
May 13th?
So no, May 9th and then June 13th would be the joint. So May 9th we would cancel. Yes, ma'am. Anything further, ma'am? No. Mr. Waddell?
Still at the 9:30 timeframe?
Correct,
Thank you.
correct. Yes, sir. Thank you. Hold on. Mr. Waddell, are you asking about the June 13th meeting?
Yes, sir.
Starting earlier? My apologies, I was thinking, no, that one does start earlier.
That's a 9 o'clocker.
Correct. Or actually, it's 8:30. That's gonna be 8:30 because that's a joint meeting. We may have a special meeting that we would schedule, that we would send out a date for, but that would still be at the 9:30. No, the joint meeting's gonna be at 8:30, so,
Breakfast included.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Breakfast at 6:30, just show up.
So that's for the TPO and,
Correct, ma'am, that's a joint meeting. Well, CVTA or TPO.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no discussion, I'll move that we cancel that May 9th commission meeting and that we accept a proposed amendment to align the joint annual meeting with the CVTA and TPO meeting being held at 8:30, June 13th, 2024. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second by Mr. Atkins. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Very well, motion carries. We'll ask staff to get that amended and, Scott, if you can get that out to everyone, that would be fantastic. We'll now turn it over to Audit, Finance, and Facilities. I'll send it over to Chair Holland. Mr. Holland.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
All right, attached you will find a summary, PlanRVA summary, as well as some proposed budget amendments that we have been working on via the Finance Committee to bring our expenses more in line with our revenues as we conclude fiscal year 2024. And you'll see starting on page 11 with the summary of the financials proceeding through the attached pages, concluding on page details on page 21 of the financial report. And again, the goal here is to bring in line our revenues and some of the programs that we have contemplated, the expenses associated with them for the current year at this point. Any comments anyone would like to make? Martha or Dan, any comments you'd like to make? Primarily, you can see we have a version 2 that we'll ask you to vote on page 11 of our agenda, version 2, which will again bring our revenues in line with expenses as it relates to the current year. And this is as of March, end of March. The financials are as of March. Okay.
Any discussion? And for the record, Mr. Van Dornick, our Finance Director, is on site. Thank you for being here, Dan. Any questions for Chairman Holland or Director Van Dornick or Ms. Sherry? Right, so that's the summary. The next item is the amendment. Mr.
Yes,
Holland.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the budget as amended. As you'll note, we have made some hires to contemplate revenue adjustments and enhancements accordingly, as well as some expense reductions. So I recommend approval of these amendments as presented.
Thank you. We've received a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of the budget amendments, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your leadership on that committee for sure. Next item on the agenda is our Public Outreach and Engagement Committee. Mr. Davey, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for the members who were able to make our last meeting. The discussion with a small group of members at that meeting was really to sort of catch people up a little bit more on the history and the priorities of the committee. And then talking about, trying to get into more of the work plan at our next work session together as a committee. So not a long report from the chair, but I want to ask Ms. Schiffel if she's got other things that she wants to talk about, especially as we lead into PlanRVA Day on the 15th.
Sure. So for those of you that recall, last year we hosted an inaugural PlanRVA Day. It was in the afternoon of the same day as the joint annual meeting. So we are taking the same approach that we did last year, where at the conclusion of the joint annual meeting with the TPO, the CBTA, and the commission, we will rearrange the room as necessary to be able to bring our community partners in for the afternoon. All board members are certainly more than welcome to stay for the program. We're working on finalizing that, hopefully by the end of the next week or so. We'll have 3 modules, if you will, that'll happen sequentially over the course of the afternoon on June 13th. The first focused on community engagement, the media, how our agency is reaching out into the community to better engage the public in the planning work that we do. The second topic will be focused on data-informed decision-making and highlight or showcase the work that we've been doing for the last 9 months or so with the Urban Institute, focused on establishing the regional indicators for upward economic mobility. And then the third program will be delivered in partnership with Partnership for Housing Affordability as a kind of a practitioner carryover to the January 25th event that many of you attended. PHA hosted a nationally renowned author and scholar that focuses on zoning and the implications that zoning can have on the availability of affordable housing. So we're hoping to have 2 speakers confirmed who represent jurisdictions in Virginia who have undertaken zoning ordinance reform to be able to effectuate the availability of more affordable housing units in Virginia. So it's, again, geared a little bit more kind of to a practitioner focus. All are welcome, but we're pleased to say that I think we've gotten preliminary approval that session will offer AICP credits for those who pursue that professional accreditation. There may be some aspects of the afternoon that last year you might recall we had a reception in the evening. So if our sponsorships come in the way that we hope for the day, we might be able to do something like that again, but we'll keep you posted on the lineup of the schedule. And certainly before the beginning of May, you'll start to see promotional information about how to register and how to share in your networks about the event. Do you want to say anything else about PlanRVA Day?
Yeah, so last year, PlanRVA Day was kind of interesting. As you know, we started early, we had our panel, and then we had events throughout the day. We had different, I'd say, localized tracks, meaning everything took place in this room. But at the social, talking to a couple of folks that had planned on coming for maybe the opening, some folks who planned on coming for one discussion, whatever, and they stayed the entire day. So it was extremely well attended. I do want to thank the localities for the sponsorship, and the leadership around this table certainly made that happen. So we're very grateful for that. But it was not only well attended, I don't think that's the only matrix when judging how successful an event is, but the feedback that we got afterwards was phenomenal. So highly encourage everyone obviously in this room to attend, but if you have staff members, community leaders, community members that would find anything that we're doing here of interest, it'd be a great opportunity for them to show up and enjoy that day. And it's a comprehensive schedule, so you can kind of come and go as you please. So we would really be excited if folks would let us know what maybe they'd like to see during this time. And again, I invite everyone to attend. So thank you, Michael.
The committee will.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Waddell.
Yes, this is in the afternoon of the 13th. Approximately what time is the kickoff start time for the PlanRVA Day
Sure.
for the afternoon session?
We're operating with a timeline right now that the joint annual meeting will conclude by 11. And so then we'll kick off the first session of the PlanRVA Day by about 11:30. That first session is described as like a lunch and learn. So like last year, our plan is to host like a box lunch offering for folks that are attending that session.
Thank you.
Sure.
And this would go all the way until about 5 o'clock?
The last session right now is scheduled to conclude at 5 o'clock.
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Anything further? Great. Okay. Yep.
And then the committee just will be meeting again May 16th? Apologies, I'm not thinking of the date off the top of my mind, but we'll be meeting, as Mr. Davies said, with really focusing that agenda on the upcoming work program and our goals for public engagement for the fiscal year.
So we promised an agenda and
Yes.
notification reminder to the committee, so let's make sure we do that.
My hope is to get that out by Monday.
Thank you.
My plan, not hope.
Anything else on that?
That concludes the report.
Thank you, Mr. Davey. That's fantastic. The next item on the agenda is the Executive Director Report. Ms. Schickel.
Yeah, I'll just point everyone's attention to intergovernmental reviews and environmental reviews. Just for those that are new, this is a report that exists in every meeting's agenda. It's here for your information to share what, as part of our state mandate from the General Assembly, is to participate in a review process of pending state permit applications and funding applications for the federal government. We serve as a conduit for information, and this is the chronicle log of the last month's reviews that our staff conducted, and with a little bit of information there. We have to compile the annual summary of this and submit it as part of our annual report, so I will call your attention to Sarah Stewart, who's in the back. She is the director of our resiliency, emergency management, and environmental programs. And one of her team members, Eli, manages this process. So if you ever have any questions and anything you see in the packet, feel free to reach out to any one of us and we'll help address your questions. But it is just an information item for you. I do not have any updates with regard to the Smart Scale Regional Project, so I'll skip ahead if that's okay with you to the hazard mitigation plan. Sarah, would you like to give some background? There is a memo in the back in the packet, but I'll give the gist and then Sarah can give more context. This is a planning document that was approved locally in all of your jurisdictions in 2022. We're asking for the commission to approve the plan as well as a regional document with no changes to what you approved at your local level in 2022. Really to position PlanRVA, the commission, to apply for federal funding for projects identified in the hazard mitigation plan. In order to be eligible for certain funding streams, we have to have documentation that the plan was accepted by this body. And so it's I'll say largely an administrative matter, but we want to be able to make sure that we have maximum eligibility for any grant opportunities that are coming forward for the communities that we serve or the greater region. Sarah, do you have anything you want to add?
That was a very good summary. Yes, it is a regional plan. It is done jointly with Greater. It's posted on the PlanRVA website. All the localities in the PlanRVA region have already adopted it. And that has been submitted to FEMA. And this is in many ways an administrative step so that we can better leverage the plan that was created.
Sarah did prepare a draft resolution for the board consideration on page 29 of the packet.
Chair recognizes Mr. Engel.
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there any discussion?
Basic,
I apologize. Did I hear a second from
Yes,
Mr.
sir.
Carroll? I thought so. Discussion, Mr. Waddell.
This is a reaffirmation of what we've already committed to.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Wait a second. Yep. And just to clarify for the record, the motion is to adopt the resolution in the packet.
That is correct.
yes, that's good.
And the second stands. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item, our partner reports. We'll open up with Director Parsons from CBTA. Mr. Parsons, do you have anything for us, sir? I see page 30 is a comprehensive update. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for having me. I wanted to draw your attention to page 30 of the agenda packet. We held a kind of one of our milestone meetings on February 23rd to approve our third round of regional funding. Many of the localities in the room benefited from that funding announcement. We were able to, in addition to previous rounds of funding, we were able to identify 22 new priority regional projects committing over $232 million to that work, that great work around the region. We are now moving into a 2-year funding cycle where we will look at existing commitments that the CVTA has made over this next year and make sure that the funding is adequate and everyone can have those projects move forward. And then for the spring of 2026, we'll move into our round 4 for a consideration of new projects. So I'm working closely with the technical staff of every jurisdiction to make sure everything is on board. I think the next big horizon project for the CVTA is a very detailed discussion on issuance of bonds to cover additional debt that may greatly increase our ability to finance new projects. And that's a very exciting endeavor that the CVTA has not yet undertaken, but we do have the authority based on state code. So looking forward to that conversation over the next few months. Upcoming meetings, the end of this month, April 26th, we will hold a public hearing on our FY25 administrative and operating budget. Shouldn't be many surprises there, and we'll continue to move forward, especially with committee meetings over the summer, to make sure that we are staying in touch with the needs of each jurisdiction. We are looking forward to the joint meeting in June, and as always, I'm here to help as much as possible with anything that can be done and answer any questions. So feel free to reach out to me if you need anything.
Thank you, Mr. Parsons. Any questions for CVTA, Director Parsons?
Mr. Chair, just a
Carol.
comment. Part of what's proposed in our budget that Mr. Parsons didn't speak to, have been on the CVTA since its inception. PlanRVA has been a critical part of the success of the CVTA, helping us, basically get our feet under the ground. And Chad has been a big part of that. And then part of what we're putting in the budget now is for us to actually establish our own standalone website with our own content. As we know, PlanRVA has graciously, when the CVTA was created, added us to their website. And so part of what we're proposing in the budget is for us to create our own website, own content. Not that we're not pleased with being part of PlanRVA's content, but I think as a separate entity, it needs to have its own standalone. But part of what it will do is have certainly links back to PlanRVA and all of the jurisdictions that are included within the CVTA. And that's an exciting project that we'll be undertaking over the next year. And that will move forward once our budget goes to the public comment period and considered by the full body and hopefully approved. Then that'll be something we're moving forward with next year.
Sure. Well, thank you very much. Yeah, that is interesting. Thank you. Anything further? Thanks, Chad. Ms. Stewart, do you want to come back and talk? You're on for item number 2, EMAC report?
Oh, I apologize. I think that's me and not Sarah. My apologies.
All right, sir. You don't take that off your time clock. We're not paying you for that. All right, Ms. Schickel.
Yeah, we just wanted to be able to start including an update monthly for the Emergency Management Alliance. We feature a lot of the work that group is doing in our monthly newsletter, but wanted to kind of align that with the way that we're creating the space on the agenda for a report. So you'll see a written report in future meeting packets to give you an update on what's happening with that group. Just to orient you, the Emergency Management Alliance is the group of emergency management professionals from each of the 9 jurisdictions in the PlanRVA footprint, as well as the surrounding jurisdictions of the VDEM region that covers our larger metropolitan statistical area, kind of roughly. And we have tribal partners and private sector partners that also participate in that coalition. PlanRVA over the last couple of years has really increased, due to Katie Moody's leadership, the number of grants that come through the commission to support the work of that alliance. We purchased a lot of equipment that's shared across the jurisdictions. Think of things like emergency rescue pet shelters, mobile training devices, materials used to set up an emergency operations center that's mobile, a mobile unit, that type of thing. And we also support coordinated training and exercise activities, as well as training. We'll be debuting a video later, probably in the next month or so, opportunity for you all to view the finished product of a grant-funded project that we completed earlier this year to support training instruction for our mass care service provider. So nonprofit partners or volunteers who get activated in the event of a disaster when we have to set up a feeding shelter or another type of information or joint information center, those types of things. So we'll keep you updated monthly on the activities of that group. It's been a really exciting partnership to be able to provide the staff support to them and to be able to see how that coalition has grown over the last several years. So stay tuned for future updates from that group.
Thank you. So you've got Bushing on here, is that, are we gonna call Miles?
Miles is here.
Sorry, Sarah, Miles.
Good. Thank you, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Miles Bushing. I'm the Director of Transportation. So reporting on the RRTPO, so the MPO side of the house, updates for March and April. In March, we approved funding for two big funding programs, our regional flexible funding, which includes 3 different federal funding sources. And then we also did the transportation alternatives with bicycle and pedestrian projects. We funded 7 projects through the flexible regional funding. Outcomes still be determined on the transportation alternatives, but it looks like about 10 or 11 projects will be funded through that program. So a lot of different regional initiatives moving forward on the funding side. The other big update is we updated our Unified Planning Work Program, which is our work plan and budget for the MPO, which feeds directly into the PlanRVA budget as well. So that was action taken at the April board meeting. Upcoming meetings for next month, we will be reviewing our fiscal 25 budget and work program. It was reviewed through our technical advisory committee, which is your local engineers and planning staff, and it'll be moving to the full policy board for the May agenda. So that's a big TPO update right now.
Thank you, Miles. Any questions for Mr. Bushing? None? Wonderful. So the PlanRVA newsletter, the Better Together Connector. Anything on that, Martha?
It's just there for information.
All right, so if you need that. All right, anything from commission members?
Chair.
Yes, sir.
I just think, update for the, recognition in the I-64 gap, I think it's plain for me, so.
It is, yeah, so that was changed due to inclement weather concerns, but the dedication, under Ms. Page's name, May 7th. So if you have that on your calendar, if you need any support on that, any questions, anything, let staff know. We'll be happy to make sure we can get that on your calendar if you need.
And I believe the signs have been installed already.
Oh, they have, okay,
Yes.
great, well, that's great. All right. Anything further from commission members? Anything from staff? All right, Mr. Attorney, anything? Madam Executive Director? Very well.